What's up, everybody? Jeff and Jordan here from the Togethermess podcast on Wednesday, June 25th at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. We are going to go live with our podcast.
Pull up your chairs, crack open those icy beers, and help us kick off summer live. And hopefully we will have our cul-de-sac crew here.
That's right. We're going to have games, giveaways, and hopefully some fun prizes along the way.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Togethermess Pod, for announcements and sneak peeks.
Yay Media Group.
We're talking about drag queen brunches, and we had this big drag queen on, and she comes in and was like, "Oh my God, you're Jeff from Big Brother." And I was like, "Oh my God, you watched that show?" I'm like, "It was 16 years ago." And she was like, "You're the best." And I was like, "You're the best." I love drag queens are like, they're performative. They're fun.
Hey guys, episode 150.
Wow, it's a milestone.
I know. It's just going by so fast. And you know what? Okay, wait, before we get started, I have to say this. So when I was in North Carolina, I went to Lake Norman where my dad lives. It's in Cornelius. And he took the boat to this shop, and they have just a bunch of Lake Norman gear.
Yeah.
And the girls, my dad is like my biggest supporter, and I get embarrassed sometimes because he tells everybody, "Oh, she's got a podcast." And I'm like, "Dad, it's got to naturally come out. You don't just tell people she's got a podcast." So I'm explaining it to these sweet girls that work at the boat shop, and they were saying, "What's your podcast?" So I was telling them what it was about. And they were like, "We won't listen unless you talk about Love Island." And they're 18 and 22. I did not get their names, but they were very sweet. And so I was like, "Oh, I'll wear my Lake Norman sweatshirt on the podcast whenever I'm there," because I bought this new one. But they said we have to talk about Love Island or Traders, and they'll listen.
Oh, we could talk Traders.
Yeah, I go, "We already talked Traders."
Did you ask them if they want to talk Vandies?
I don't know. They're younger, so I don't know if
Maybe they
younger
watch The
people in
Valley.
band. Oh, I'm sure. Oh, they were telling me all about like the reality shows. I am way behind.
Did you tell them that we have a live podcast coming out June 25th on Wednesday?
I did not. I didn't
Well,
go
now
in
all you
depth
guys
there.
know. So tune in this Wednesday. This is Monday when this podcast is dropping right now. This Wednesday, we're going to have a live podcast with tons of giveaways, some special guests. So stay tuned. We'll give you more details a little later in the show, but I thought it was a good time to interject that into the conversation.
Well, that was smooth. That was very hosty of you, Jeff.
Thanks, love. I thought it was very casual the way I interjected that.
I just had to say that before we get started. But today I took the boys, like after you've been on a long trip, you kind of just want to be home and just chill.
I didn't feel that from you at all.
No, that doesn't happen at all in this house. So the boys wanted to go to the pool today. So I took them to the pool. We were there from 10 to 3 and it's really hot, but I love it. And I just kept spraying them constantly. I was so worried they were going to get burnt. As much as I sprayed them, they still got so much sun. But anytime we go up there, it's always, they're just searching for friends that they see at school. So we're hanging out up there. And then the best part is when you've been out in the sun all day and you are a little burnt, and then you just, like, they put on their PJs and then you put on your cozies, and it just feels so good because you've been in a wet bathing suit all day.
I was at work all day when I got makeup in my eyes right now because I was running around all day.
You need to fix that. You keep complaining about makeup in your eyes.
No, it's not makeup in my eyes. It's when I'm wearing it all day. When I have it on for 12 hours, it's a problem.
And it irritates you? Maybe you're like a little allergic to something in whatever foundation you're wearing.
Or it's wearing makeup for 12 hours. Do you do that? Do people do that?
Yeah, I have makeup on right now.
I hate it.
I don't have that.
My eyes are watering just from talking about it. But anyways, I'm glad you got your weather story in. Yeah, it's hot here in Colorado. But we did go see, I got tickets from work, one of my perks. We got to go see the new Jurassic Park last night. So that was fun. Got to hang out with the kids and the fam and go see the new Jurassic Park.
If you...
Rebirth, I think it's called.
I think it's my favorite one out of all the Jurassic Worlds. I don't know why I wasn't expecting much for this because there's so many and it's all kind of like the same thing.
Yeah, Chris Pratt's not in it. Who's that other guy?
Oh gosh.
The Fly.
I don't know.
Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, they're not in it. The main characters that you know from the last couple aren't in there. It's a new cast. Scarlett Johansson's in there, and there's just a handful of actors that you'll recognize.
I
when
only
you watch
knew
it.
Scarlett Johansson. I didn't know
knew
any of the other ones.
and they
did
were
a-
recognizable.
They did a good job.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
It was action. It kept you like a little jumpy at times. Our boys loved it. People were writing me on Instagram asking if they were scared. There was only one part late in 6, if you don't know. And he was like, oh, I'm scared. But he goes, is it fake? I go, oh, yeah, this is all fake. It's not real. And Lawson, every time a dinosaur would come out, he'd be like, I have that Mosasaurus. I have whatever other dinosaur they showed.
And they do a good job of breaking it up with like a little bit of comedy, like the one-liners in between. So it's a good movie to go see if you guys are looking. It doesn't come out till July 2nd. We're special, so we got to see it first. But yeah, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. It's
for working.
It's one of the perks.
For working on your show. So
yeah, but if you're looking for a movie for the summer to take the kids, get out of the heat, that's a good one to go see. But it runs about 220, I think. So
yeah, it runs a little bit longer. And the kid, it was just nice, like to do something during the week.
Yeah, well, it's nice to do something with you guys. I haven't seen you in a minute.
Yeah.
So it's nice to hang out with the fam.
We'll get used to it because we're going to be around all summer.
You're going to be at the pool all summer while I'm at work.
Yeah, but when you get off, you can come meet us.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, let's switch gears here a little bit. We have some stories that you wanted to bring up, right? But I wanted to bring up some things. We had an interesting day at work, and I don't want to call out my job at all or anybody on my job, but it was just some office things that we were talking about and just like living in today's day and age, you know? And I'll give you some examples. Again, not shouting out my work or anything or what people said or didn't say. It's just like what people are so sensitive these days about what you can and can't say, or, you know, it's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling how much you have to walk on eggshells, especially in the entertainment industry, but just in life in general. And I think people bend over backwards to try to fit in or to make somebody help fit in, but it still feels like you're walking on eggshells. At least it is for me, you know?
I mean, you definitely... I don't do anything in television, so I don't have to deal with what you do.
Right.
But I think now, if I was in your shoes, because before I feel like I just say what's ever on my mind and I just splurt it out, I would probably be in a lot of trouble.
You splurt it out?
Yes. Because I just say things and I don't sometimes think about what I'm saying.
But I think that's missing. Here's what I'm saying. I'll give you examples. I'll give you specific examples of what happened today. But if you're not trying to be directly negative or derogatory or put someone down, and you could totally tell when someone's taking a jab or doing it on purpose or slipping it in with a cheap shot, you could tell the difference.
Yeah.
And you could tell when someone's on eggshells and I slip up and someone goes by pronouns and you use the wrong pronoun, but then immediately someone's in your face. And it's not even the person that has the pronouns. It's usually someone on the outside that interjects in the conversation, whether it's online or in person. People feel the need to interject and make the conversation worse, which makes me not want to have conversations at all. That's the problem.
Don't. I feel like you don't really. You're definitely more reserved than you used to be.
Let me give you an example of what happened today. Okay. So this is crazy to me. This is just crazy, but this is, I guess, where we're at in America. And I understand in the television industry, it's super hypersensitive. But so we are I won't even use names because I don't want this to get back to my work thinking that I'm complaining about anything at all. It was just interesting conversations that I'm like, oh, you know what? This would be great for like DBL. We could have these talks on air because we were in a safe space and we could share a little bit more. The news is a little bit different. What I do isn't a news show. It's a lifestyle show. So the news has to be a little bit more careful with what they say. But I work at a news station, so it's kind of all relative. But one of our producers was going out on a package, and they were going to a Chinese restaurant to make dumplings. And I was like in the office the other day, I'm like, hey, could I say ni hao when I say hi to you? That means how's it going? In Chinese or Mandarin. That just means, how's it going? They're at a Chinese place making dumplings. and I wanted to say ni hao, and another producer said, you can't say that. And I go, what do you mean I can't say that?
On your field shoot?
I was just going to say hello to him to introduce the package because he was shooting it live. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He was live at the place.
Yeah.
And I was introducing it from the studio, and I was going to say, hey, how's it going? Ni hao. How's it going over there? And one of the producers is like, don't say that.
Really?
And I'm not saying that it's just my producers or my office. Again, I'm trying to generalize as a springboard to this conversation. If I was at DBL and I said that, there would be some producers that said, you really got to watch what you say. But if I was introducing an Italian guy and I go, ciao, Riccardo, what's up, buddy? What do you got for us today? A little pasta? Would anyone have a problem with that?
I don't think so.
If I was introducing a British guy and I'm like, oi, mate, what's on the agenda? Would anyone have a problem with that? So why can't, when I traveled around the world, every country I went to, if you generally knew hello, goodbye, thank you, and you're welcome, they respected that so much. They're knowing that you're American and you can't speak the language, they respected that you're trying to speak the language. And I guarantee you, if I was talking to that person, the owner of the restaurant directly, and I said ni hao to them, they would feel the exact same way. But why are we so on eggshells in America that if we're trying to respectfully use another language, that we're at a point now where people are like, you shouldn't even do that. You shouldn't even try to respect that culture or try their language. I'm not being disrespectful in any way, but I'm using it as a springboard to kind of represent where we're at in America and how tight butthole we are with everything.
I think.
By the way, I did say it on air.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. What do you mean you did? What was that reaction?
But they told you not to.
That producer wasn't there today. So I'm like, and I didn't say it to the guy who was on camera. So when he was on camera, and he didn't know I was going to say it. And I'm like, hey, we're going to meet up with our own producer. I'm like, what's going on, buddy? Ni hao. How are you doing? And he started laughing. He goes, hey, Jeff, what's going on, man? Yeah, I'm here at this Chinese place, blah, blah, blah. The people couldn't hear me because he's got the earpiece, But I'm like, I'm not changing who I am or out of the respect for your culture to try to respect your culture by saying hello, goodbye, how are you? You're welcome. You want me to take that out of my vocabulary or use that more? I'm not using it in any sort of derogatory way, but why are we so scared to even use like another culture's language these days?
Because
in a respectable
because
way.
I think everybody in TV and news is in fear of their job and wants to keep their job, and everybody's so scared because people are so sensitive. All they have to do is send an email, and a couple years ago, everybody.
But what would the email entail?
I'm offended.
No, if I put this out, like right now, someone will be offended. Someone will write in saying why they think I should not use that other culture's language.
That, what you said, it adds like a little bit of flavor.
Of course it does. But I just said, why can't I say ciao to somebody? Because I'm half Italian. It gives me the pass to say that. You know what I mean? I don't understand.
I think
when I'm in Thailand, everywhere I went, kapum kap, kapum kap. You say kapum kap to everybody. That's what you do. When you go to Mexico, do you say hola, gracias? Is that disrespectful, or are you trying to be respectful to their culture because you're in their country?
That's what I was going to say. If I see them and we're in Mexico, I don't know much Spanish, but I'm like hola because I try to be respectful to them.
And you're in their country.
Exactly.
Right.
That's what I try to do.
So I don't understand, like, even if you do have a problem with this, write in. Let me know why it's a problem, because I don't like this cultural divide. I think the best way to learn about other cultures and people is through food. Right. And that's exactly what we're doing in this package. And if you can't exactly get to China or get to that country, the best way to do it is go to a local restaurant from people that are from that country and ask questions. What's it like? How do I say hello? How do I say goodbye? How do I say this dish in your native tongue?
People are scared to ask questions.
But why are we there? Why are we there?
Because I feel like everything shifted. From working at DBL so many years ago, you had to take like these dumb classes. And you're like, why am I taking these classes? And you know what I'm talking about.
I do know what you're talking about.
Some of the stuff, and it was a little insane. It just common sense. That if you,
I won't go down the rabbit hole of what I'm talking about. Even though this show's off the air, I do respect everybody over at work. the moral of that story was we did have a meeting, and my reply to me saying, I'm a curious person, and I think part of my job and my personality is to ask questions. And they gave me a list of 25 books I should read to better educate myself on this situation.
Exactly.
That was the advice I got from the professional that was getting paid to give this meeting. So instead of answering my curiosity question, it was shut down with read 25 books and educate myself.
Well, I think that's why the television industry is it's shooken up now, because nobody knows really which direction it's going in. Everybody just wants to have a job, and nobody wants to make any moves. Nobody wants to offend anybody. Nobody wants anything. I think I saw something. Now, I didn't look into this, so I'm not going to go into it. I'm just going to say it. I saw something like Mario Lopez was getting served with something because somebody was offended by something he said. I don't know all the details, but everybody just wants to keep their job and provide for their families in television.
All right, let's take a break right there. We'll come back, and I got some more to say.
Okay, welcome back.
All right, yes, going down that rabbit hole. I don't know what happened with Mario Lopez, so I don't want to comment on that unless I know the whole story. But I'm just talking in general. I know he got sued whatever I saw on the internet was for $10 million. Again, that's ridiculous. I don't know the story, but to sue for that much money because you were offended by something, I don't know the story, so I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole.
I don't even know the whole story, so I probably shouldn't even brought it up.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't have. But yeah, I just don't understand where we're at these days with you can't say this, you can't say that, and there's no room for like growth. And I think a lot of people who interject with those things aren't even the people that are supposed to be offended. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If I'm going to be quite literal, it's the white women in suburbia. That's the problem. They're the ones that are more offended for the people that they think are being offended. Yeah, I said it. That's what I think the problem is. The people that are supposed to be offended aren't even the ones being offended. And when you look at the younger generation, I don't even think they know why they're being offended. They're out of their minds with what's going on right now.
I think it's the commoners on the internet that are more offended, and not like if you go out in our area, we were talking to other people, people would be like, what? I'm not offended, but it's just the people on the internet. Did
you ever see that video? It's this guy, he dresses up like he's in Mexico. It's a white guy. He goes to a college campus. I'm sure you might have seen it if you're on the internet. Maybe not. I don't know. But he wears like a sombrero. He has a mustache like taped on. It's very bad. He's obviously he's carrying maracas, and then he's got one of those, the colorful, blankets that you put the very stereotypical Mexican garb, right? He goes to a college campus and he's like, are you offended by my outfit? And the people that they show, again, I'm sure he interviewed people that weren't offended, but the video is posted out like, are you Mexican? And he's like, no. And they're like, you should take that off. And they're like, every single person that he talked to, according to the video, was super offended. One of them ripped the mustache off. One of them got super mad. And okay, I get it. You know what I mean? He taped the mustache on. He's not doing a good job. He's not Mexican. He goes into a Mexican neighborhood and talks to like these old Mexican men. He's like, hey, are you offended by my outfit? And they're like, no way, man. I love your outfit. Where'd you get that? And he goes to another guy. He's like, are you offended by my outfit? And he's like, no. Why? And every old Mexican guy that he went up to, I guess the times have changed. Maybe I'm just getting older, but they kind of, even though his mustache was taped on and it looked ridiculous, in some way, those guys saw that as like a compliment. Like, hey, way to go. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just, the times are so crazy. And I understand I'm getting older and the younger generation thinks differently than me. But do we need to be attacked the way we're attacking everybody because of these things? Do we need to be able to have to walk on eggshells all the time? I could go so much deeper into a conversation with a group of people that I'm not familiar with to better know them, especially in my job and my personal life, just like I do when I'm riding in an Uber. How many questions do I have?
Oh, so
How much do
many.
I want to know about their culture? Everything. I almost invite them into my house. Jordan has to stop me at the end of the
know.
night because I'm so curious
time.
about other people's where they come from and how they grew up and why they think this way and that way in a respectful way. I'm not being, and if you ask the same questions that I'm asking the people from other countries from around the world that Uber me around at night, they're very happy that I'm talking to them about their culture, about where they come from. But if you say that in front of someone else, there's offense written all over it. I don't get it anymore. And it takes me away from the conversation, which I hate. I hate that because I want my kids to grow up in a multicultural world, even though we're kind of out here in the burbs. I want them to learn about other cultures. That's how you learn about life and other people, not by asking a question and then you see your dad get shut down on TV, or you see your dad complaining at home because people are writing him, you need to get fired and you can't support your family anymore. Because I'm being inquisitive and because I'm asking questions about something that I'm ignorant about, you tell me to go read 25 books? Like, I don't get it anymore. It has nothing to do with my job. I do ask those questions, but there are some times when I'm like, man, this would be great, but I don't want to go there and ruffle feathers. You know what I mean? It's not even anything bad.
Because it's just better not to ruffle the feathers.
But it's not. That's wrong. It is not better to ruffle the feathers.
I know, but normally, like when you were at DBL, you always just stayed neutral with all of that. I think people just try to overcompensate to be like, oh, I'm sticking up for my friend, but their friend doesn't really care, but they're trying to overdo it because that's what the social media is saying. Does that make any sense? Did that make sense?
100%. 100%. They're overcorrecting so they could get like that social credit pat on the back.
That's what
you know what I mean?
I'm trying to get at. You said that better than me. That's where I'm getting at. Just like clap for me. Yay, I stuck up for you this way, when it's almost like, wait, did you really need to? You stick up for somebody if they're getting bullied. You stick up for somebody if they're feeling down or somebody's belittling them. You stick up for them that way, not for someone.
I just think I think those people are hypocrites. You know what I mean? I think they kind of took control of the media and television and certain things.
Well, that's why television's where it's at.
I know, it sucks.
And that's why people like you and other people, and even in local news, everything is just, it's the worst. I mean, I'm not in television, but I feel like I know a lot about it just from Jeff and from friends who work on movies and work on shows. And every single person is just like, what the hell is going on? It's so effed up now. That's what everybody says.
Yeah, because everyone's on eggshells.
The executives are fine. But everybody else is just like, I'm not going to make this decision because I am not going to lose my job.
Yeah, of course.
And that's why, and nothing will happen. And then what will happen is, let's say ABC will do this, and then CBS will be like, oh, ABC is doing this, I'm going to follow. And then they follow, and then it's all the exact same thing. Ideas, shows, it's all similar things.
Nobody is willing
to step out of the box.
To roll the dice.
Exactly. Nobody wants to get creative. Nobody wants to come up with new things. Nobody wants to, it's all the same thing. And then if one person is popular, we're just going to stick with that person and we're following those people all the way. And that's, it stinks because then there's no room for creativity and for new people to come in. And it's only for the people who are already set in television, who are known faces that get to keep going on. And the other people are just being pushed out.
Yeah, I don't know. It's being weaponized. It's being weaponized at this point. And I just think it's to the point where it's ridiculous that we're talking about, can I say hello in a different language about a restaurant that we're talking about? Like, that's where we're at in America.
I'm sure if we were at the airport and you said that and we were going on a trip and you said that people wouldn't get offended, but you just have to be careful in television because executives don't want to get in trouble.
Let me use an example. Dre, shout out to Dre from DBL. He was our makeup artist. Dre for the Slay. If you want to follow him, he's the man. So I have plenty of gay friends, but at work, if we had someone on like a drag queen or someone that I wanted to ask questions about and like dig a little deeper, you know, I'm like, I'd go, Dre, could I say this? And I would consult with him. He's like, Jeff, if you ever have any questions about what to say or what not to say about anything else, come talk to me. That's not only a friend, but understanding that culture, right? Hey, man, I'm a little naive in this culture. My friends aren't with me right now. I'd call Bob. I'd call Matt. I'd call Eddie. I could call all those guys and ask the same thing. They'd be the same way. But Dre was there at work. So on the spot, I'd ask Dre, and he's like, dude, you could ask me anything. Go ahead. And he was so sweet about that, right?
Person that doesn't get offended. They're just open. And that's what's lovely.
Why can't the world be like that? Hey, ask me anything. I'm this religion. I'm this culture.
Angry.
I'm this sexuality. Instead of saying, if you better not go there, because if you do that, I'm going to weaponize this, and you're not only going to be off the show, you're going to lose your job and never get hired again and not support your family. For being inquisitive, you're knowing if I'm being an asshole. You know if I'm being negative. You know if I'm being stereotypical. There's a huge difference in just trying to ask a question in a certain way and being an asshole. I think everyone could tell the difference. Mm-hmm. But now it's like you're not allowed to talk about that. Right now, people are writing into the podcast, listening to this, being like, oh, man, get this guy banned from his own podcast. You can't do that, by the way.
There's someone on here. I look at the comments all the time. There's someone on here. I hope you see this, whoever, I forget your handle. But on every single episode, she writes something so hateful about me, about how awful I am and about how I'm done with my marriage and how I'm just a bad parent and I'm horrible in this. And I'm like, why do you listen? But you still continue to listen every single time, but you love to comment on here every single time and leave a comment.
But I think we have to listen. That's their destiny for them, right? They have their own destiny of what they think we are as a couple, or who. It's kind of like any celebrity. It's just like we're not the Kardashians. I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it like that. I used the bigger reference to generalize it so everybody could understand. So it's not on us.
But it's just like stuff like that. People.
But I mean, look, the Kardashians are still on the air, and everybody hates them. If you just go in a general conversation in public, hey, do you like the Kardashians? Oh, I can't stand them. Well, somebody likes them because they've been watched for the last 2 decades. So somebody likes them. Not everybody hates them, but people love to hate. So keep watching whoever's writing in.
I think it's because it's just like The View. I think The View's the worst show ever, and it's so negative and hateful.
And one-sided, and you're not allowed to have a conversation.
But I'm like, who watches that? But it's been on for so long, people probably just tune in and watch. Kardashians, same thing. It's the total opposite of that. But it's a reality show, but it's been on forever. So people just continue to watch. I'm not a Kardashian type person, but I'm like, applaud them. They did an amazing job marketing. Their mom did an amazing job, and they've made it to, I mean, they're on another world, another level.
Respect.
Than us. I mean, yeah.
Respect. That's what it's about.
But I'm not.
They're billionaires. I mean, I don't know how many of them, but a couple of them are.
Yeah, they got they have clothing, makeup, all that stuff. Good on them. I'm not a Kardashian watcher. I'm not a Kardashian type
I know
person.
You said that.
But I don't know. But
you got to let that go. Maybe what I'm saying is I need to let that go because I have a different destiny. I know who I am. I do let some of those things hold me down. But I'm not going to let.
You can't be yourself.
But I'm not going to let. What I'm saying is I'm not letting that happen anymore. When a producer's like, you need to watch what you say with this. When I know the right thing, I'm not being blatantly racist or sexist or any of those other things that people love to throw around these days. Those days are over. It's a new era. Let's start having conversations. Let's start being inquisitive. Let's start asking questions. Let's start better understanding where you're coming from as a person and learn where I'm coming from as a person. We all have different things going on in our lives, whether it's tragedy or death or heartbreak or whatever it may be. We all have different things going on in our lives. And maybe that person's a little upset about something more because they have more of that in their life. But it doesn't mean you're any of these things these words that people are throwing around these days. You know when people are being openly negative and and disrespectful and all those other things. This labeling and cancel bullshit, that's gone. Like that, at least it is for me. And either I buy into that and keep walking on eggshells, or I paint my own path and be a better person, more positive person, a member of my community, someone my kids could look up to and respect, and all cultures and nations of all my friends could be like, hey man, you did a good job raising your kids. I appreciate you asking those questions and bringing them to different countries and learning different things. Not this bullshit on the internet where you're not supposed to say anything or your job's over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Am I going off on a tangent? I think so.
No, keep going. I love it. You're just over it. But you're around
because it's ridiculous. You can't even have a conversation anymore.
But it's something I feel like that struck a chord with you a little bit because you're in it. With
Definitely.
television. It's not like other people, if you have a corporate job, I take that back. You probably have the same problems in corporate.
No, I'm sure it's corporate too. And again, it's not it's when I worked at DBL, but it's everywhere. I'm just talking about the times. And it doesn't matter where I'm at in America or what market I'm in. Everybody's like, can I say this? And it goes up the chain to here. And then it goes up the chain and it goes up the chain.
But then,
and ultimately, what do people say?
No.
Probably take the safe road and don't say that. Well, that's where we're at with creation and television and innovation as far as the entertainment industry goes. Everyone's playing it safe. Nobody's going out there on a limb. And that's why it's going down, because no one's being creative. I was just watching the news today and I was thinking to myself and I go, okay, so they just did a story. Then they kicked to weather. Then they kicked to a package of a guy that's out on location. Then they kick back to the news anchor. They tell a story, set it up. Then we check the weather. Then we go back to a package. That's every market in every state across the whole country does
because
everything exactly the same.
Exactly. Nobody wants to do anything different.
And
because
nobody will rock that boat.
Because if somebody does something different and their ratings go down even more, or something happens, it's that person's job.
Yeah, and then you lose your country club membership and you're out.
Yeah.
So let's play it safe. Let's not rock the boat, and let's just do what we're told. You know, and I'm.
But the executives get paid.
And again, I'm not. This was a jumping off point. I love where I work. It's nothing to do with that. I love my office and everyone I work with. Please don't misconstrue the two. I'm just thinking creatively of things that I could do on my own and where things were like back in the day. You know,
when you felt inspired, like lately, you used to be more of a dreamer,
for sure.
And you're not really a dreamer because you're not inspired by anybody. Nothing's the same. It's just very blah. And let's follow everyone. There's no.
When, you know what, that's a great point. When I lived in LA, you know, when I was 22, 23, it was, you could do whatever you want. You could create whatever you want. I get this idea. Dude, you could do that. I know you could. That sounds like a good idea. You should keep going. Well, this is going to get a little crazy. Let me tell you the crazy part. I love that. Go lean into that even more. Do that. Go for it. Why not? The worst they could say is no, right? That used to be the answer. The worst they could say is no. That was it. Now I'm like, hey, I got an idea. I don't know if I'd lean down that road. Well, I'm thinking about this. That might be a little dicey. Okay, well, the worst they could say is no. Not really. You could probably lose your whole career and your family and everything else. There is no more. The worst they could say is no anymore. They could wipe you, fine you, take you off the, and just wipe you out of this business completely.
Yeah.
That's where the dreams stop. That's where we're at. At least me. I know I'm sounding like a whiner and a complainer.
Well, I know just from living in
to
LA, just how everybody used to be. Whenever we would get with different groups of people, everybody got along. It was everybody shared their dreams, their projects, their plans, future, all this stuff. And that's pretty much like what it was. And you don't really hear that anymore. It's like,
I know,
okay.
but it's, I think maybe that's part of it, I don't know. And I'm like, again, I want to stress that I'm super happy at my job. I don't want this to like circle around. I don't think anyone listens to the podcast, but I'm super happy, but I'm just trying to be innovative and think of new ideas and new things. And I understand this business is full of no's.
But you give your ideas and everyone is no. So then it's like, well, what do you want me to do? You want me to come up with something, but I give you an idea and it's no.
Yeah. And then I'm
it's
like,
just, trust me, you all. When I talk to Jeff, it's so frustrating because he'll tell me things and these ideas, and I'm like, "Oh, that's great. Share that." And then he does, and it's just no. It's very. I don't even work in what you do, and I think it's annoying.
yeah. Well, listen, I'll look in the mirror. I know some of it's me aging out of this business. I know some of it's me,
I think right
not
now
being
it's
connected to the younger generation. There's a lot of reasons and a lot of things that are on me that some are in my control, some are out of my control. But I'm not naive to think that, I'm a 23-year-old kid with an 8-pack that, has the world in front of him.
Yeah, but you can be a hot, almost 50-year-old, I don't know, host, news reporter, traveler, whatever you want to do. Just because you're older doesn't mean anything from a 23-year-old.
I know.
You have the experiences. You have way more experience, way more.
No, I wasn't looking for a pat on the back. I'm just trying to figure things out. You know what I mean? And
I think your head is just spinning, and it's where do I go? Where do I belong? Where do I fit in now?
Is it because times have changed? Because I have a family now, and maybe I'm not available to some of the dreams in my head that I want to do? Or is it the times are changing and those just aren't available to anybody?
I think you can. Well, I know we've been talking about this, but I think you can do whatever you want to do. I think you have to want it. I feel like you used to want it more. And now that you have a family, you don't want it as much. Like with DBL, when they first told you no, you were like, get me in that room, Paul. Get me in that room. Just let me meet them. I will change their minds. You're not that guy anymore. You're not, get me in that room and let me change your mind.
That hurt.
No, that wasn't an insult.
No, I know what you mean. I'm totally joking, but it did hurt because that was a pretty good analogy.
It was very good because, and then you got DBL and then
but
you moved us here.
You know what? You're right. I'll agree with you in this sense. When they're like, no, you can't do this because you know what? You might have said some things in the past and I don't know if they're going to take you and this and that. And you said so. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. You're right. That's just what I think about the business. And I'm like, yeah. And you're right. I don't move past that saying, that's not you don't know who I am. Why don't you put me on camera or get me in that room and I'll show you who I am. Why don't you meet some of my friends and I'll show you who I really am. You know what I mean?
I think because
you're right.
We have our house here and we have our routine. We have our things that we do and you're comfortable. You're happy with where we're at. We were in a little apartment like we were in Santa Monica and struggling and it was like, oh, we got to make changes. Like this is miserable and you were miserable. I think you would fight a little bit harder. I think you're happy, which is a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
No, I think what you mean is content.
You're content.
Yeah. If we were running out of money in our house, we were back on our mortgage and credit card debt,
yes,
there would be a sense of urgency and I wouldn't take no for an answer.
But
you're right. That does play into things very much. Yes, you're right.
But I feel like at that time, because we had just had Lawson and you're like, oh my gosh, we got Lawson. I didn't get asked back at CBS. Now I got a kid. I got to support. We're living in this apartment. I think you were just like, I need this. And that's why you got DBL because you're like, no. I'm going in there. And now if somebody says no, or somebody kind of is like, no, I don't think that's a good idea. You need to be like, wait, listen, I have more. You need to fight a little more. I have it in you.
No, I have been stepping it up a little bit with certain things because I got it in my head that maybe it's part me, part the industry, but I feel like the industry is going to change.
It will.
I feel like somebody's going to roll the dice. And once somebody rolls those fucking dice, everyone's going to follow.
All going to do it. You all. Okay, we're saying this now.
I'm sorry to swear, but
we're saying this now. So
that's what's going to happen. Somebody's going to roll the dice, shake up the game. I don't know where or how, but it'll be very noticeable. And the whole game will change again.
Yeah. And then it'll do a whole nother shit.
And then someone will try to take it down and it's going to be too powerful. Just like anyone else in this business that's too powerful. The Joe Rogans of the business. He can't be canceled. He could say whatever he wants. Those guys say the craziest shit.
But it's
man,
like, where,
you know?
how do you get, if I was a Joe Rogan, I would say whatever's on my mind.
But it's a different world than corporate world, right? Those guys are comedians and they've paved their own way. But it's, I don't know, maybe I just got to work harder and pave my own way.
But then other people that work in corporate or have those jobs are like, want to be the dreamers and like, I don't want to work for anybody. I want to do this.
But
I want to start a clothing.
And I understand I'm in Denver. You know what I mean? It's not LA, and I don't think even LA is like that anymore.
I feel like LA's
the
not
way
much
it was from what I
dreaming.
hear. So I'm not there, so I can't exactly give you that statement. But it's just a lot harder, budget wise, numbers wise. People aren't watching. There's a million different streamers to watch. There's things on the internet to watch. People don't trust the media anymore. It's just like the whole business is people don't want to see award shows and pat themselves on the back.
But it doesn't,
just
because it's shifting doesn't mean that what you do is completely over, and because of your age, it's completely over. It's
even if it is, I think we could come back to wrap this up kind of, because I don't even know how long we're going. But even if the business does crumble and my business crumbles and I crumble in this business and it still goes on without me, I do want us to get back to a place in society where we could have normal conversations. We could ask some hard questions just in a casual setting without cameras and just get to learn and understand somebody a little better without being labeled something and misconstrued of something. And I want my kids to grow up in that world of curiosity rather than I'm scared to say that because I'm going to get in trouble and this person told me that. You know what I mean? I want them to grow up with diverse friends, and I want us to travel and learn the world and learn that. Because the way they're teaching in schools now and the way the education system and everyone's scared to ask questions, I don't want my kids being like that. I want them to travel the world and see what it's really like. Because we're talking about 10% on this side, 10% on this side makes up 80% of what you're saying on the internet. And that's like a true stat, Mm-hmm. Like it's such a small number that makes up the majority of all the hate on the internet. And I don't think if you're out in public at a regular conversation, people they're not offended by that. You can talk to people. If you meet at the airport, if you meet somewhere else, if you meet in an Uber, they're willing to talk to you and tell you about their country and ask questions and what's it like with a different sexuality or a different religion or whatever it is, man. I want to get away from this stereotypical bullshit and start to learn each other and better myself and my kids.
Mm-hmm. I want to be better.
I feel like
when you said learn, you were talking about, I don't know why this made me think, this is so random and this is something I would say. Talking about being when I was down over by North Myrtle Beach, I didn't tell you this story. It made me laugh. I was getting a margarita. We had just landed and I changed my clothes. My dad was like, let's go to a Mexican restaurant. And there's this lady there and I get a margarita and she goes, we hang out. I was like, me? And she's like, yeah, you and I, do we hang out? We hang out in the same circle of friends. I go, no. She goes, how I know you then? I know that voice and I know you. You look familiar. We must run in the same circle, or you've been here before. You're a regular, right? And I was like, no. I was like, I'm not. I'm actually from out of town. I'm visiting. But I go, I have been here before a couple times. She goes, I don't know. I don't know where I know you from, but you do look familiar. And then she said, I knew. I was like, she knows it has to be Big Brother because that's where, if she says my voice and looks, then so I told her, I go, do you watch Big Brother? She goes, that's where I know you from. You had that love affair with that guy, right? And I said, yes. I go, Jeff. And I was like, I'm here with my 2 kids now. She goes, oh, well, that's cool. I'm glad I figured out where I know you from. And she's like, all right, have a good night. And just talking to that lady, and I was like getting a drink and vacation just started. And I was like, this is so fun. I just wanted to talk to her later because she just made me laugh. It was just so random. Like, you had that love affair with that guy?
Well, see, that's what I'm talking. That brings conversation, right? So today on our show on Great Day Colorado, we had this. We're talking about drag queen brunches, and we had this big drag queen on, and she comes in and was like, oh my God, you're Jeff from Big Brother. And I was like, oh my God, you watched that show? I'm like, it was 16 years ago. And she was like, you're the best. And I was like, you're the best. I love drag queens are like, they're performative. They're fun. But anyways, I went up to Idaho Springs after the show and I had to do a shoot. What a cute little town. If you're ever visiting Colorado, Idaho Springs is a cute little town. But I'll end on this story because we went too long. But this guy, we were doing a package in there at this great little place. I think it's called Kind Mountain Collective. If you're ever up there, great family owned and operated business. And I'm standing in there and this guy is wearing like sunglasses and a tie-dyed shirt. And he goes, you're one of them news people, right? I was like done with the shoot. I was letting my buddy finish up filming some stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I guess you could say that. And he's like, what program you on? And I was like, I go, it depends. I go, I'm working with this show now, Great Day, Colorado. He goes, no, that's not it. I go, is it Daily Blast Live? And he goes, are you with that Shocker lady? And I go, so you mean Sam Shocker? I go, Daily Blast Live? He goes, maybe that's it. He goes, I don't know. Hell, I don't even watch TV. And I go, well, maybe if you did, we wouldn't be off the air. And his wife started laughing. She's like, that was a good one.
Maybe they watched 9 News.
I think they watched 9 News.
And that's where they saw.
Yeah.
I know. I wish you and Sam were together.
I know.
Y'all are a great team.
All right, we rambled on. I apologize for the complaints.
On the next episode, I want to talk about this viral video.
We have something else happening on the next episode.
What? Oh, I want to talk about this viral video. And but we'll show the clip next time because Jeff had a lot to say today. Jeff needed to get a lot off his chest.
I didn't know it was going to go that far.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was going to go that far. I'm not going back in.
It's Thursday.
But what do we have going on? It's Thursday now, but it's Monday to the audience. What do we have going on Wednesday?
We have a live podcast.
We do?
You promoted it already in the beginning of the show.
Do you know how marketing works?
Yeah, okay.
You got to jam it down the people's throat.
Okay, so jam it. You're better, Mr. Host.
What time is it on?
I don't even know. What time is it? I gotta look.
Riley, is it 5 Mountain Time or 6 Mountain Time? Riley probably fell asleep back there. But it's our next
6 Mountain Time.
It's 6 Mountain Time. I'm glad Jordan's ready. We read some ads before the show. I printed out all this stuff for the ads. Jordan doesn't even look at it. It's been sitting here for 4 days, and we get on and we fumbled through these ads for 45 minutes. Sorry to our producer, Ian. But anyways, we need to start paying attention in detail a little bit more. Maybe the reason I'm failing and we're failing in life is because we need to fucking step it up.
I show up. I got on.
That's the problem. We got to do more than show up. We got to get after it.
I got on a plane and I got here and I got off the plane and started recording. I showed up for the day that
All right. Well, thanks for showing up, everybody.
We had to record.
Yeah.
So,
we're going to not just show up in the future. Our goal is to make this podcast grow and improve it and make it better and make this somewhere where you want to come for entertainment and get your mind off of the crazy world we live in. So thank you for watching. Togethermess.com if you want some gear. Don't forget.
Read your
Now you
quote.
have some stuff to say? Oh, okay.
Now I got something to say.
You always going to interject with, I thought you were going to say something smart.
No, do your quote.
Okay, let me do a quote real fast. Let everyone sweep in front of his own door and the world. Oh, this is a good one. Let everyone sweep in front of his own door and the whole world will be clean. That's perfectly fitting for what we were talking about today. So
fitting. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in, downloading, subscribing, tagging your friends. Why are you looking at me like that? You're just staring.
Thanks for showing up. I show up.
I did.
That's
I got on the plane.
That's going to be a new t-shirt.
I said I would come back. Jeff's like, when are you coming back? I said, I'm coming back when I have to record the podcast. And I got on the plane and came. And I showed up and we recorded that night.
Let's be better. Let's go crush life. Let's go get it. Let's dream hard. Hey, I showed up. I don't know what happened. We'll end it there. Thank you guys. Again, tune in Wednesday in 2 days at 6 o'clock Mountain Time. 6 o'clock Mountain Time? I'm talking like a mountain person. Again, live podcast. We're going to be taking your questions live. We're going to have some cool giveaways, hopefully some cool guests, and let's have some fun and just, that's what it's all about, right?
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Yay Media Group.